Alrighty, so I'm going to talk about socialism versus libertarianism in regards to the Wild reading and the Ian reading. I think that's how you say the name. Ian, not too sure. No biggie though. So with Oscar Wilde, he wrote an essay called "The Soul of a Man Under Socialism." It was a very controversial essay for the time period. He published the essay in 1891, and the essay basically evoked the socialist sentiment at the time. Well, some people review it as like a libertarian socialist, which is kind of contradictory, but it's more of a socialist sentiment. It clarifies and explains how socialism merges the individualistic practices necessary to benefit society. He also takes time in the essay to criticize capitalist practices during the late 20th century. So this essay is written at a time where, capitalism was at its peak. You're leaving the Industrial Revolution. You're into, the working, everybody working for their money, everybody making honest pay. But at the same time, if everything was to crash, then things happen. Major themes in the essay was socialism relieves people from living for each other, and that is one quote from the essay, that socialism relieves people from living from each other. And basically, in simple terms, Wilde is stating that socialism will provide the tools necessary for society to prosper. There shouldn't be too much interference when literally everybody can do what they need to do and society will prosper because people will contribute. A man and woman's spirit is uplifted and enlightened under the socialistic practices because he or she is left to her true freedom. Basically, what I was trying to state before. Once everybody's left to their true freedom, then everybody can contribute. They can do their own thing, and with this, society prospers. Socialism will birth the individualism necessary for people to collaborate, willing without coercion or government to advance society. Everything I've just stated, pretty much the same idea that socialism will relieve people from living for each other. So you won't have to worry about the next person because they're doing their own thing. And being that you both are doing your own things, y'all can collaborate without the extra coercion or the government forcing you to collaborate with each other to advance each other when you all are just living your own lives and contributing your practices to society and its advancement. The relationship between society, state, and freedom. So basically, societal opinion on individuals' way of living is the death of individualism. Public opinion drives people to live for each other and not themselves. So basically, this in the essay, it was explaining that societal opinion on the way people live is what's going to be the death of individualism, because in a capitalist society you're having the government force you to work certain jobs for a living that you may not enjoy, and public opinion drives people to work in a certain job arena that they may not want, and they won't be able to contribute much to a society that forces them to do certain things that they do not want to do. Societal pressure, you have governmental pressure, and it's not freedom, and that's not liberty. That is not what a socialist would agree with. Having your freedoms be interfered with by the government on a major scale. The state should provide the machinery for unenjoyable jobs to get done so citizens have the freedom. They then should use that freedom to benefit society as a whole. So even though, it is your individual freedom, socialism practices the whole idea of using your individual freedom to contribute to overall society. The people will occupy jobs that they want to do. So being that people have the freedom to do what they want to do, they're going to occupy the jobs that they want to do, and they're actually going to enjoy living in their state, living in their area. No freedom, like with capitalism, makes basically I'm sorry no freedom, like with capitalism, makes the poor fiend for money, and charity doesn't alleviate the sins from private property. Sorry for the errors, you all, but yeah, basically, when there is no freedom, when the government is forcing people to do what they want, what the government themselves want the people to do, and there's no freedom, everybody's fiending for money. Everybody's going to do whatever gives them the most money and be selfish with what all their private property. And basically, what Wall was trying to state was that when you have the poor feeding for money, the best way to help the poor is not to give them charity. Because some people are not, like it was said in the essay, some people are going to be grateful for it, but some people are going to be ungrateful and they just remain destitute. And that's what you do not want. You want people to have their own individual freedoms, do things that they enjoy, and from that, the currency shall flow in, whether it is wealth or happiness. And citizens are able to contribute what they do to society and collaborate and advance society together without coercion. And that's the whole idea with the socialist argument in his essay. Moving on to Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand's novel Anthem describes a dystopian society that is based on the idea of collectivism. Collectivism is the process of giving a group priority over each individual. This is the opposite of individualism. Individualism is rejected by the government in this dystopian world, and equality, the main character, is an outcast. He's extremely intelligent and tall, which deems him as a sin to society because he doesn't fit into the societal norm. This society is an us society, not an I society. So this is basically, libertarianism is not an overall rejection of socialism, but this rejects the principle that we must all collaborate our own personal freedoms together. This is just focus on you, be selfish for you, because that's what you're responsible for, your own self. Major themes in the work was society is its own worst enemy. When freedom is only imposed upon citizens by the government, authentic freedom depends on the lack of interference from public entities or government. Ingenuity without barriers is the only way to ensure your freedom. Also, welfare can't be fully provided by the state. It takes being on your own for personal advancement. Overall, this is basically just stating that, you need to be working on you, your individual freedom, your private property. Anything that is for you is for you. You must work on yourself. It is not your responsibility to help the next man when you have to focus on you. You came into this world by yourself. You're going to leave out this world by yourself. So why not make sure that you're advancing on your own? And the libertarian idea is, okay, I don't really care what you're doing. Don't interfere with what I'm doing. So it's that whole selfish mentality. The relationships between society, state, and freedom. The government should not impede nor interfere on the private lives. The government needs to leave people to their own devices to help innovate themselves. As a society, it is not necessary to work together as a community. Working internally and individually should be an individual's main responsibility. The beginning of it all should be respect for everyone's own freedoms and individual freedom. So this basically epitomizes what libertarianism is. It is focusing on your own freedoms, focusing on your own private property, your own ambitions, and your own ventures for your own advancement. You shouldn't be forced by the government or society or anybody else to contribute what you have done for you to advance yourself for the next person. So giving charity to the poor, what is philanthropic, ventures? When you're looking at the libertarian ideal, what is giving charity when you yourself are working on yourself? You're responsible for you. You're working internally to advance you. And you do not have to, it's not necessary for you to collaborate with the next person to help them be on your level, if that makes sense. So in this novel, you basically have equality, who is an outcast. He's sitting there. He's just, I'm tall. He's basically like, okay, I'm a tall person. I'm deemed as an outcast. It's deemed as a sin. So there's something sinful in my bones. Also, with equality, he's extremely smart and scholarly. So being that he's extremely smart and scholarly, he's deemed as an outcast as well. And as that being the same, because he's smarter than the committee, he's smarter than the people that he's supposed to actually be like mentored by. Also in this society, everybody is the same. Basically, mentally, physically, everybody does the same thing. You're not supposed to sit here and have your own, ventures, have your own freedom, because it's a collective. Everybody does the same thing. So what equality does, he finds love in liberty. Nice pun there. He finds love in this young lady Liberty, which is totally rejected by the mentors. He also starts to write, which he starts to write in this underground place, I guess. And is something that's not accepted. But because it is what he wants to do, and it shouldn't, and he believes it shouldn't be interfered with, then that deems it libertarianism. He's not going to impede on anybody else because he's doing his own thing. This is my breakdown of what's going on in both novels. I hope y'all understand what's going on. Thanks for the extra credit, Dr. Pratt.